they're an heir apparent for Jim Calhoun. Next. Welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues, making a point to drop in every week. This we do know, folks. The window on Jim Calhoun's coaching career is closing. When and if he ever retires is anyone's guess. But at 68, Calhoun has reached an age when it's time to talk about a succession plan. So, who is the heir apparent to a Hall of Fame coach with 3 national championships and over 800 wins? Harper Current sports writer Jeff Jacobs and WTIC AM sportscaster Scott Gray will join us for what should be an engaging conversation about UConn's remarkable championship, the potential for a repeat, and whether there is an heir apparent for its complicated coach. But first, we'll close things out on the remarkable journey of the UConn women and the end of an era for one of the greatest women basketball players of all time, Maya Moore. We're joined now by Jeff Jacobs, Harper Current columnist, John DeVilla, regular contributor, beat writer for the UConn women. Welcome, guys. So finally, the era is over, right? UConn women back-to-back, they finally lose. So my question is, we know how Gino Auriemma is in victory. How's he really doing now in defeat?
I was happy you didn't say the heir apparent to Gino Auriemma. I was going to have to leave the set immediately.
Let's throw him in there. I forgot about him.
I live by the credo that you can't win them all, Stan. Right. And, winning 114 out of 116 is about as good as you can get. And Coach Auriemma was pretty gracious after the game. I think he knew exactly what had gone wrong. Anybody who saw the game knew exactly what had gone wrong. There was no denying it.
What went wrong? I mean, some players didn't show up. I don't want to play the game.
I'd say if UConn was a 6-player team, 5 of them didn't show up in that game. Right. And over the last 10 minutes, it was clear. The ball was in Maya's hands every time down the court. She did what she could, took 30 shots, scored 36 points, and no one helped her. And they got into some foul trouble in the second half with Stephanie Dolson picking up 4 fouls. That was another thing Coach Auriemma was very worried about the whole season. What was he going to do?
Well, when you have 6 players and foul trouble, you have problems, right?
Well, he was setting up the referees the whole season. He was like working the refs, even when he wasn't working the refs. He was talking to us, telling us what a great job the refs had done all year, how appreciative he was of the wonderful calls they were making. He's looking for the next call before the next call. Well, it was the last call in this national semifinal game. Dolson picked up 2 quick fouls. And they were pretty much hamstrung after that. Notre Dame was working the lane, scoring points. And that was the end of that.
Now, Jake, you've covered Auriemma for a while now, right? I sense from body language, I've never talked to him, his body language tells me that he's sort of relieved, that he kind of understands that, 90 wins, back-to-back championships. He almost seems like, there's a weight off his shoulders. Is that unfair for me to surmise that?
I don't think anybody hungers for defeat, Stan. Right. So I think he felt really bad for Maya Moore. I wasn't there. I didn't get up for that game. I thought they were going to lose to Stanford in the finals, to be honest with you. But I think he cares very deeply about his players, and I think he was heartbroken for Maya. I will say from there, though, I think the 6-player thing, it was an inviting disaster all year. Samari Walker, they could have used 10, 15 minutes out of her, huh?
Mm-hmm. How about Heather Buck? They could have used 2 minutes out of Heather Buck.
Carolyn Doty got hurt, right?
From the start. But, Heather Buck, we were guessing all year, could she contribute? Stephanie Dolson got into foul trouble. She never got off the bench. So he had a big lineup and a small lineup. Unfortunately, it only included 1 player. There was no leeway. And when they got into foul trouble against a particularly bruising Notre Dame team, I don't think Gino cared for this Notre Dame team as much as I think some in the past he thought maybe they were a little soft or they may bend when they push come to shove. In a lot of years, this team had more push in it and a lot more than he bargained for in the loss.
And long nails. So when they would come out of the games all scratched up, their arms and shoulders. So, women, nails. What are you going to do? You can't tell them not to grow their nails, right, Stan?
Well, how about next year? They're going to have nails next year. You have a young team, right? You have Bria Hartley, a group of really good freshmen. do you lose your edge when you lose a Maya Moore, and when you've had that kind of history, you have a certain edge that even when you're losing, that history carries you through. When you lose more, do you lose that edge next year maybe? That sort of, that moxie, that confidence that says that, hey, we're always going to win?
Well, I think initially, but I think, if you love sports history, and I do, I mean, it's filled with examples of how amazingly new players are born and come up. And a lot of fans don't ever believe that, but just look at the Yankees. Went from Ruth to DiMaggio to Mantle to Jeter. Look at the UConn. Went from Carrie Baskin to Rebecca Lobo to Jen Rosati to Diana Taurasi. I bet most UConn fans thought when Diana Taurasi graduated that was going to be it.
Who would have thought, right? To be a four-time All-American, right?
Look who came to follow Diana Taurasi. Now, next year, the next Naismith High School Player of the Year comes in. Kalina Mosquito-Lewis from Mater Dei. Okay. She's going to wear Maya's number 23. Maya's given her permission. That's her number in high school.
That's a kid with some confidence, huh?
Kid with some confidence. And we'll see what this kid is made of. Apparently, she is a good shooter. She won the three-point shooting contest at the McDonald's All-American game. She's a dynamic scorer. I met her in Indianapolis. Very nice kid. So whether she's going to score 3,036 points,
right?
I don't know.
Well, how about the whole legacy of Moore? I mean, four-time All-America, scholar athlete. I mean, I don't know if there's been a more remarkable student athlete ever. Jake, your thoughts on her legacy, and did we underplay her value and significance as a player, as a person here?
It's a good question. Emeka Okafor comes to mind in that too.
Right.
The real Athenian code of a sound mind and sound body strikes me. That's a beautiful thing. I think she's an understated person, so I don't think that she probably appreciates it if we underplayed her at times. I will say that I think that she's the greatest performer in UConn women's history.
Really?
But I will say that Diana Taurasi, in my mind, is the greatest winner. And it gets, I'm an old hockey guy, but this is Gino Auriemma bringing up. When he talked about Maya scoring 3,000 points, he mentioned Wayne Gretzky, that she was a point machine. She couldn't help herself. She could score from here, there, and everywhere. And that was part of her grace and her elegance. But at that same time that Gretzky was leading the Edmonton Oilers was Marc Messier. And a lot of people thought Marc Messier was one of the, if not the greatest winner of all time, one of them. And Diana Taurasi, push come to shove, is that kind of Messier type of figure. So it's really hard when you start rating on who would beat who at the time. It's a ridiculous notion right now in my mind that Maya's better than Diana. But Diana's older, more mature. Her game is elevated by a quantum leaps since leaving UConn.
I think Maya's true legacy, and I was working on a story today about this, in fact, is she is to UConn what Roger Staubach and David Robinson were to Navy. She is the epitome of the entire concept of the student athlete. The NCAA loves to use this phrase during the tournament. They remind the media that when we address the players that they are student athletes. We all know the truth about that regarding how many of those athletes are true students.
Right, the wink of that, right? 5 seconds.
Maya, David Robinson, Roger Staubach, the epitome of what college sports should be. That's going to be her legacy.
All right, John Altavilla, Jeff Jacobs. When we come back, folks, we'll return with more of the Stan Simpson Show. We'll talk about the men and the new champions. Their coach, Hall of Fame coach Jim Calhoun. Is he going to retire? Is he going to stay? Who's the heir apparent to Calhoun? Don't go away.
They play basketball, too?